Thank you for joining the See the Good podcast. It's a podcast just about good stories that happen all around eye care that you may not always hear about right away, or and people you may not get introduced to. So it's pretty light and pretty fun, and we like to shine the light on things that are happening, particularly around the optical world. And today I have with me Chrissy Friberg, which I hope I'm saying that right, because what happens is I lurk on the internet and I follow people forever that I may or may not ever meet, and then I make up in my head how to say their name, and I say it that way for years and years until I finally meet them. So Chrissy, so great to have you on the podcast. And we met once. I want to see if you remember. I can tell by the
Was it
look
at
of,
Vision Expo
was that Vision Expo?
in the line at the bar?
No.
Okay. No,
It
that
was
wasn't you.
it was like 5 seconds. I saw you in the hallway and I was like, I've never met her in real life. So I just like sprinted across the hall, said hello, and we both kept going on our way. So uh there wasn't a lot of conversation. You were walking with somebody else I know, but I can't remember. But anyways, Chrissy Freiberg, if you follow her at all, um, in my own estimation, again, we lurk on the internet, we follow people, we don't really know them. I would vote Chrissy um, the number one person to potentially randomly drag you on stage and sing karaoke somewhere to some 80s or 90s song. Is am I anywhere close on that, Chrissy?
Absolutely. I usually do rap songs, but because I'm terrible at rapping. So yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So when I went up to you, I one of the things I said is I just want to meet you because to me you seem like a party in a box, and that's just from
Yes.
following you for a long time. So Chrissy does a lot of work, remote eye care, and all around Alaska, which I love Alaska so much, and all different remote places. And growing up in the north area myself, I love snowmobiles, I love airplanes, and I see you doing all of these things all the time, and
Yes.
it's like my dream job in a lot of ways. And so we're going to dig into that a bit today, which I'm
Okay.
really excited about because I think we all watch from afar and we're like, oh, that looks like so much fun. At least the most of us that like
It is
snow
sometimes,
anyway.
most of the time. Most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, except for like the week long periods where you have no running water or anything like that. I've seen a
Oh,
few
yeah,
posts
that's not
where
so bad. Yeah, that's not horrible. I think it's almost like dying a bunch of times.
almost
Crashing
dying
my
a bunch of
airplane or frostbite or
right. Now, were you accustomed to cold weather or anything like
no.
that before?
I was honestly I had signed up for the Mercy ship. I don't know if you're familiar in Africa, and I was going to go there. So I knew in my heart I wanted to like the pandemic like broke me. I think I was just over like office work. So and then at the last minute I got rejected for the Mercy ship due to like religious not alignment. So they I already had taken the time off, rented my house out. Like I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now? And then my friend called me and said, I just bought this company in Alaska that goes to remote villages. Would you like to come? And I was like, actually, I'm free. But no, I had no idea. I remember reading the manual and like, you know, when you start a new job in optics, it's like, this is what insurances we take. This is our cell phone policy. And I was looking at it like, this is how not to get trench foot. This is polar bear safety. Like this, I'm like,
Wow.
I was like, well, this is right up my alley. Let's go. But it was definitely a different manual than I've ever had. Like I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been an licensed optician since 2007, and then I worked in the industry before that. Um, so definitely like the handbooks I've gotten, that was definitely like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. There's so many aspects to it that are really interesting to me. And I think I have kind of this passion for indigenous populations. Kind of having a little bit of a Native American family background. I think we all claim that to a certain degree, but kind of embracing that and trips I've made to Alaska. And what I love is different groups have such preserved culture that they've carried with them, and you're going to all of these villages and areas that are so cut off and so
Yes.
flying in bush planes, and I've read some of the stories. I think more than having read some of the stories, I've just, seen some of your posts of, where you're camping out or, what you're
Yeah.
doing. And
Sleeping
and I
on
saw,
floors is what I'm doing. Yeah.
yeah, sleeping on floors but I guess there's a couple of things I want to dive into. One of them, first of all, is just the cultural experience of being brought into some of these small communities and if there's stories that you can tell about that time that
For
you've spent,
days.
yeah, time that you've spent just maybe at somebody else's table that you wouldn't have been at. I'd love to hear a little about that as well.
So I do 190 different villages. So I like to specialize
Wow.
in villages of 400 people and under and very remote. So, they really have very limited access to eye care. So that has been my heart is doing that. And I feel like every village kind of has its own heart. Like they're so like some of them are kind of close together, but not like it's still like very hard to get to. They're pretty good at it, but like every village has its own like heart. Like every so like I've got to meet all kinds of different folks and they've all been so welcoming. Like I've never felt like I shouldn't be here or like, which has just been like that's why I'm going to keep doing it till I can't. But yeah, just like I've met the people that taught me how to shoot guns and people that taught me how to fish. And one time they had me help cut up a whale for the whale feast.
Oh, wow.
Like that was a table I didn't think I'd be at the whaling captain's house on my birthday. He gifted me 5 pounds of whale blubber, and I didn't know what to do with it. He said, "Feed your family." And I work at a when I'm home, I work at an office in Bellingham, Washington, and he I just mailed it to him to the office, no context, and he opened it and was like, "My whole office stunk. Like, what is wrong with you?" I'm like, I love you."
And
But yeah,
that's a big deal to them too, because like, you're in an area where, yeah, there's caribou and deer and elk, but all such very, very lean meat. And you can't survive just on lean meat. You
that's their
need,
food, yeah. So it is
yeah,
always an honor. And they were like, "Happy birthday. Thank you for coming. We're so grateful for
right,
you." This. And I was like, of course. And I remember the first time that I saw them wailing up there. It's many times, but they were like, "Please don't say anything bad about us on the internet." And I couldn't even like fathom, like I'm like, what? I'm so proud of you guys. You're feeding yourself. Like I don't understand. And then I like look it up, and people are pretty nasty about that stuff. And we all have opinions, but like,
right.
what do you want them to do? Go to McDonald's because that's not an option. So like they have to
Yeah,
eat food like every one of us do, and they're so proud of it, and they are very respectful and they're
right.
very communal. So yeah, that's definitely like when you're talking about tables, that was a table I never thought I'd be at. It was the whaling captains, and I actually ate the eye of the whale
Wow.
with sriracha. Um,
Enough
so
sriracha and anything can go down, right?
that's exactly my like key to like the only thing I could not eat was fermented steel. Like it was, I tried, but I couldn't do
Ooh.
it. But
Uh,
everything else I've been able to just put sriracha on it and call it good. Like
yeah, yeah. I used to watch a lot of cooking shows. I enjoy cooking and I've watched a lot of them that were up in that area. And then I've watched some that were like Norwegian and over in those areas, they ferment a lot of seafood. And, I watched the fermentation process and I'm like, nope, I'm never going down that. If somebody
I
offers me
tried.
fermented fish of any sort, I'm not in with that.
I remember after I took the first bite, which I knew I couldn't take another one, this like elder walks past me and she goes, "That gives white people botulism." And I'm like, "Awesome. I already ate it. Thanks." And I didn't get botulism, I don't think. Probably not. But yeah, so definitely just like being in like in their cultures has been amazing. Like I've gotten to go to many dances. Like they have traditional dancing up there, and I've like had the honor of being invited to some funerals of elders that I've known for. I've been going up there about 5 years now, so that I've known be able to
Yeah,
go to and pay my respects and be a part of that too, which is that's a part of their journey. It's beautiful. It's all beautiful. Like and they're just like it taught me a lot about like how I want to live my life. Like you can't take stuff with you. Like the important things in life is like it's like emotional connection, like happiness, like memories, not like how big your house is or how nice your car is or like So it's been really nice to like that's been very refreshing for me and giving me a good new like motivation. Like, what do I really want to do? Do I need a new car? Do I want to go back to Alaska? Like, Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think I read a story, but I didn't read all of it, but I just wanted to get it fresh from you. But you had encountered a individual that was like minus 24 or something without glasses.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that was actually not that was a local clinic I do here.
oh wow.
So there's a free clinic by where I live that we get it's run by the Lions Club and I've been volunteering there for 13 years and yeah, I had somebody come up that was obviously mentally ill and they were wearing +1 readers and he pulled out this prescription out of his pocket talking to me about colds and stuff. It was a -24. So I went downstairs in the Lions Club donation room, which was in that clinic and I found him like a -20 myodisc, and I realized he could see himself across the room and he was crying, and it made me cry too. So, but
Yeah.
in the villages, like my favorite thing about this is, and I don't want to like say this the wrong way, but like when a child can't, when they're like amblyopic or a +6 or they can't sit and read. Like they think the child's like misbehaving or that's the easiest thing to go to, and people don't think of glasses. Um, so they're like, jacked up on ADD medication. And I believe in medicating children, but I do believe it needs to be warranted. So instead of
Right.
medicating them to compliant, how about a $5 pair of glasses to fix this problem? So that's been good seeing the kids, like, because I've been going back to the same villages for 5 years, continually. And just seeing them like flourish because they can see now and just have the smile because
Right.
kids are curious and they want to learn. They want to learn. You just have to be able to give them the tools to do so. And bringing awareness to the communities like they might not just be bad kids. There just might be vision related. Like let's do the whole school and do eye exams on every kid and full comprehensive ones. And there's smaller schools. There's like 80 kids,
Right.
and let's do the whole school full comprehensive on every child and see what we find. And a lot of them are very open to that, which is very nice. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an interesting part of what you do is that a lot of mission groups a lot of times are in an area and then another area and another area, and they don't get to see that journey that that person goes through in their life,
yeah,
and see them develop. And um, I remember I've been a high myope all my life, but I hid it for a long time. Like I was really good at hiding it, sitting on the front row in class, squinting to see the chalkboard. I was just too insecure to wear glasses around my friends. Not many of them did. I was in a really small school, graduated with a class of 14. So it was like, really tiny. And, so I pushed it off till I was like almost minus 30, before I got my first pair that I was actually willing to wear. And, um, it's, I was wondering like what's it like in some of those cultures? Are they uh, ready to wear glasses? Do they embrace it? Is there like, oh, my friend doesn't, or what is it like in some of those areas?
I think the biggest barriers, especially with kids, is they have to fit perfect because glasses will give you frostbite when it is cold from
Oh,
touching your
wow.
face. So you'll see people and children with like if they're on their snow machine and they have their glasses on. So it's not that sometimes they don't want to wear them just because they're kids and kids are kids, but a lot of times like we transition them into contact lenses, which is not covered, but we have to charge them, but not we don't charge a lot, but to be able to get them in contact lenses whenever we can, because that is a solution to glasses giving you frostbite. I've literally gotten frostbite from my
Oh, wow.
so yeah,
Yeah,
the metal touching your skin is not fun. So and the plastic ones will break in -60. Yeah, so yeah, it's cold.
yeah, you loved to snowmobile when I was a kid, growing up in northern Michigan. And, it's always that, can I fit my helmet on with this on? Can I, when I finally got to contacts, it was, a game changer because you don't have to try to shove something inside your helmet. If they're cold, like you said, they're going to want to break as you're trying to bend them. And yeah,
Well, I've never seen a helmet in any village I've ever been to, so that's
really,
not, no. So I'll have like this is great. They'll love me telling the story if they ever see. I mean, they probably won't, but Like sometimes like you'll have like an 8-year-old pick you up on a Honda, like or else like whatever. It does or like in a SUV. Like how old are you? Like it's very different than it is here. And it's hard to explain, but
Yeah.
no, there's no helmets. You'll see 8 people on a snow machine. And I've traveled from village to village, which none of this is legal. I'm sure like legal, but up there they police themselves, so it's fine. But
Right.
I traveled many times on a sled on the back of the snow machine between villages, with no helmet, going 80 miles an hour, holding on for dear life. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess as a kid, I wasn't so much as concerned about safety as I just wanted to have that full snow mask, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, I've never seen one, so I guess
Oh,
that wasn't
wow.
an
Yeah,
issue as
you're
much as like they do wear goggles, sometimes, but
yeah,
um,
I could imagine your glasses would get quite cold on a snowmobile then, when it's
yeah.
that
These ones
cold
are actually
outside.
peeled. Did you know that mirror coatings peel at super high cold temperatures? So this
Wow.
one's peeled off. Yeah. I was up in it's called Sellowick, and it was like -50, and then there was a wind chill, so it's probably like -80. It's freaking horrible. But you feel like you're gonna die going outside. But yeah, and then my coating peeled off, so I need to get these replaced. But I love them.
Yeah, you know, I went on a snowmobile trip with my dad when I was about 13, and it was the only time that I thought like we're going to die because it was -40 with the wind chill was -70, and my snowmobile started forming ice around the block and it started just freezing up and wouldn't go anywhere. And we were so far from anywhere. We finally made it to a gas station out in the middle of nowhere. When we got inside, I was like, Dad, I'm done. I'm not going anywhere. This is just nuts. Like that at those temperatures, the semis all stopped running because their fuel was gelling up, and
Hmm.
it's like instant frostbite in those temperatures. It's yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's crazy because like I'll be like feeling like I'm gonna die with every breath, and you'll look over and see like a kid in freaking like I mean like probably -20, and he's like wearing like socks and like slides, and I'm like like you guys are built so much different than me. I'm like every pair of clothing I have on heated gloves, I have on warmers in my boots, and I feel like I'm dying, and they're like they're used to it. It's crazy, but yeah. So just the challenges that come with that, and like sometimes when we travel too, our contact lenses will freeze. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, which is fun. And I've bumped around I have my phoropter over here that I use, but I bumped it around so much that like half the numbers are rubbed off. You just gotta kind of, but yeah, just the issues that come along with that, like getting there, getting everything set up, finding a place to set up, which can be challenging because there's not like hotels or so it's a bingo hall or a tribal building or a school if we're lucky. And then yeah, and then just figuring out where we're going to sleep and set up is always challenging. I've made some very interesting. My favorite exam lane I made was we were in Dillingham, which is a bigger place, and they gave us an abandoned bakery that was abandoned in the 70s. So we actually had like the chart on the back of a mixing bowl. And then I had those baking racks. I had my trays for glasses like in the rack. I did a cool video about it because I was like, I am so amazing. Like, I made this happen out of a bakery that's from the 70s. That's old. But we had people show up and it was great. But just yeah, it definitely comes with challenges. So it's a lot of fun a lot of times, and sometimes it's challenging.
So how many like, I've seen I used to, watch different shows about different remote villages. I think they were like police shows or, whatever. And
Those
a
are
lot
not
of
remote. Yeah.
they were ones where like all the houses are these little shacks on stilts kind of a thing.
Oh, all of
Um,
them. Yeah.
they're all like that.
Oh yeah, because they have to be up, and either because the ice blocks are like so they're all in rivers or bodies of water. So they call it the breakup every year when the because they do boat and snow machine, but when the breakup happens, there's ice jams and it floods stuff. So there's a lot of flooding.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess I
and then
never knew why they were on stilts like that.
yeah, all of them, all every village. Also, and it's easier to heat that way too, and it's for
Okay.
heating. thing. So yeah, everything's up high. And also snow too. I mean, the snow can get super, super deep. Like I remember waking up one day and it was well past my window. Like I couldn't even see. And I was in 24-hour daylight still. So I think it was 11:30 at night and it was bright, sunny and with like snow up past my window. And yeah, but so yeah, all the villages are on stilts. Southeast is different, but I don't do Southeast that much anymore. I like to do like the sovereign islands, so like Metlakatla, Huna, and Cake. But like I like to do like the Yukon River has my heart. Like it's called the Bethel region. And then North Slope, which is the Arctic Circle, Kotzebue
Right.
area, and then there's this island I like to go to that's like literally 5 miles from Russia, not like in a Sarah Palin way, like it's really 5 miles from Russia. And it's called Tavunga Gamble, and it's very remote. It's like this rock in the middle of nowhere, and I love it out there. And they're like world famous Walry ivory carvers and wonderful, accepting people, and I love them. But,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these areas, they're also cut off from just regular medical care as well, right? I mean, they get maybe some traveling docs or something like
so how
that
it
for.
works for healthcare in villages is they have a health aide, which is like it's usually a native that has been went through a program to be able to call a doctor when something happens, and then they have what's called a medevac. So if something happens that they can't do like minor stitches or something with antibiotics, then they have to fly them to the main hub. And when I was just saying the places I go, those are hubs. That's where Alaska Airlines goes, and they have a bigger hospital. So there's a hub and then there's little communities all around there. I don't do any hubs. I only do the small communities, but so they do have access to some care and they do have resources. But I'm might be lying right now because the reason I've been home, a lot of things have been cut a lot, so I don't know if
Right.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure somebody would have posted something, but um,
And then that's like you say medevac, that's like a bush plane kind of a
yeah, it's,
thing.
it's pretty much a bush plane with an insane. It's not like I took a medevac one time out of there. And I will never do that again. Did it one time, but because I wanted to go home. I wanted to get to Disneyland because I was stuck in a blizzard. I will never do that again. But then anyways, but so it's just a regular bush plane with a crazier drive with a crazier pilot that will fly in conditions that like if that the FAA would not approve.
It's the same plane. It's just a guy that is not quite,
Yeah.
sound in the head.
Yeah, like so when I took my medevac back out, so my family was in Disneyland, and my mom's like, "You're a horrible mom. Like, get here." I was, oh, he's almost graduated. I was done, but my nephews were there, and I was like, I gotta get. I was an Anik pass, I think. But anyways, I was like, gotta get out of here, and I took the medevac, and the lady had gotten in a horrible snow machine wreck, and I get to Disneyland, I'm a wreck. And I'm like standing in the line. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I went from literally, so it was minus 40 when I left, and it was like 110 degrees in California. And then I went from eating whale for breakfast to whale watching on a I'm just crying. So anyways, medevac was a mess and just not being prepared for what that was going to feel like. That's the big culture shock from like remote village to Disneyland to, the temperature shift, the people shift, yeah.
Wow.
I have some problems adjusting.
And so a lot of those villages, you mentioned the 24-hour daylight season, and there's also like a kind of a 24-hour darkness season in a lot of
Yeah,
those as well.
yeah, so it's the same. So when the sun's tipped this way, when the earth is tipped this way versus when the earth is tipped this way. So yeah, I actually prefer the 24-hour darkness. I'm from the Pacific Northwest and it gets dark here at like 4 o'clock. But to wake up you know, at 2 in the morning and have full sun and you panic because you think you're supposed to be at clinic, which happened to be almost every day. But it's crazy that like the sun will just bounce back and forth. But the villagers up north, they have a word. So there is like about 64 days. I think it's exactly 64 days of complete darkness. And then the rest of the time, the other 5 months, the sun will peak up over the horizon. It's called Nawixit, and that's what the natives call it. So peak up, it's called, or twilight is a good way to put it. But so that's actually beautiful when you wake up in the morning and the sun is just peeking up there, and everything's just so vast and beautiful, and you just feel like, yeah. But when you wake
Yeah.
up in the blaring sun at 2 a.m., that's not as much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's you have to get used to a sleep mask or something because my
Yeah, well,
body
so the
just.
thing is, what I do is like I'm like, well, they're subsistence living, and when it's 24-hour daily, that's their time to like, so they're active and out. So I will just work until I can't, until I drop, and then so I'm like, is it 2 a.m.? I should probably go to bed. but I'll just see patients. Like they're there. So like that's
Wow.
also not healthy. Like I'm like, I started at 9 a.m. Maybe I should go to bed at 2 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, so
So
I never thought about that. I mean, what do they live on some kind of schedule then? Or
and it depends on like a lot of them are subsistence living. Some of them do work at like the native store. They have like a small gas station. They'll always have a corporation store where they can buy goods like Dr. Pepper for $8 a can, but
wow.
yeah. And then there's the clinic, and the clinic has a couple employees, and the school, the teachers mostly come from outside, but the janitors and stuff. So some of them have a schedule, but some of them are straight subsistence living. So um a lot of them are, which is beautiful to see. But yeah, they'll just so if they first of all, making appointments is impossible. I never make an appointment when I land there. So a lot of places they have VHS. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a radio
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
instead of like the phone. So I'll just jump on the VHS and be like, "Come get your eyes checked. I'm right here," and then they come and then it's just like because making an appointment would never work. Like first of all, none of them would show up, or they don't have like it wouldn't work for me. So we don't do
Wow.
that.
So yeah, I mean, I never thought about that, even just the communication structure being different and um
Facebook's huge and VHS. And I got so silly. Like I make up stupid poems or like sing bad songs to them on the radio. And sometimes like the only entertainment we have is like they'll have a couple drinks tonight and then fight with each other over the VHS. And we just sit by it and like listen. Like, like, ooh, what's happening over there?
and I mean, do some of these villages, I mean, are they all speak some English or is there a lot of tribal? How is that?
A lot of the villages, almost all of them speak English. Like in Savunga, there's a couple people that just speak Siberian Yupik still, which there's no Google Translate for that. Fun fact, so you have to go find someone but like this really cool village called Eek, all of them speak fluent Yupik, which is gorgeous because I don't want to. I'm trying to be PC, but like we came in there and said don't speak your language, don't be nomadic. Everything you're doing is wrong. Stop your drum circle. Stop your dancing. And they didn't. Awesome. I would also not. So they were like, nope. Luckily for them versus like some of the like lower ones is that they're much harder to get to than like Arizona, So
Yeah,
took a lot longer to get there. And they didn't stick around as long. So that was
yeah. So when you're out, I mean, do you sometimes go from village to village and you're
that's
just
all I
out?
do. Yeah. So I
Okay.
do I do the longest I've ever done is 2 months straight, but usually it's 3 to 4 weeks. And I'll do a village every day and a half. So I'll work
Wow.
unless I get stuck on weather hold, which is a bad word in Alaska. If anybody are from Alaska, that is a bad word, weather hold. But so pretty much I will work a full day in the clinic, work the morning, and then take off and then set up, work the evening, work the next day. So yeah, that's just I do it every day and a half.
Wow.
It,
And
and so
so when you're in those areas, and you're kind of cut off and they're cut off and a Dr. Pepper's $8, what do you miss the most? Like what if there's an item that you're like the villages need this item in the market, like what do you miss the most?
a lot of times it's like clean water and a meal in it. But my bed, like I have a pretty good bed that's set up now, and but honestly, this is weird. But like when I'm like freezing cold and I'm like traveling by snow machine or boat and I'm just dying, there's this Korean corn dog place that is here in the Seattle area. And I love their Korean. So I'm like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna get a Korean corn dog and it's gonna be okay. So sometimes I think about Korean corn dogs like too much, but like in that moment, like I'm like, I wish I could take a shower. That would be great. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember one time so I got off this plane and I'd been in remote villages on the Yukon River for a month and lunch crafters wanted me to work that day and like they have not a lot of wiggle room for stuff like that obviously. So I showed up and I hadn't showered in so long that they immediately sent me home and I didn't even realize that was that bad. Like, you shouldn't have told me I didn't have to work, but yeah. So showers are a big one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess if you're just, staying in a community center or just hold up wherever you can hold up, that's That's got to be difficult. I mean, are there do any of the villages have like a nice place to stay, or how does?
Yeah, some of them have like uh, um Chivac, Cooper Bay. They both have nice places to stay. They have like inns, which that's a loose term. They're no way up to code, but they're amazing and I love them. Um, but and some of the villages do have running water. Like they have water systems in place. Some of them don't. They just pack their own water. So that's just that's how it is. But so the hubs always have a hotel. Like Barrow, Alaska has Top of the World, which is super nice. It has a restaurant in it. It's on the Arctic Ocean. You see polar bears walking around outside. It's just
Oh
nuts.
wow.
But yeah, there's been a couple times just on a different subject like that. I like was like just sitting working in some room and I looked out. One time I just saw a polar bear walking by in Kaktovik, which I recorded. Another time I was in someplace and just two whales were swimming by there while I was, pre-testing some patients. And I was just like, okay, this is rad.
Yeah, yeah.
but some of them have, and some like I think when we say nice, like for me, nice is like, does the door lock? That's important. And if they're bed bugs, like I can deal with it if there is, but I want to know beforehand. So but sometimes they can't. So no door that locks, bed bugs, and a private place for me to be because a lot of times I'm traveling with dudes. I got a black pop-up tent that's like long, and I can put a mattress in there and keeps the bugs out for the most part. Yeah, so yeah, there's really nice places. I like there's like places that I'm excited to stay at because I've done it a bunch of times that like other people would be like, oh my God, like really? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's great here. It's great. You'll love it.
Yeah, you learn to adjust expectations over time. Yeah, I've only been
Yeah.
to a very small amount of, third worldish type areas. Never any that are cold. So that brings a whole other layer to it to me is that layer of can we survive? Can we stay warm? Can we, have water? Can we have the basic necessities of life? So,
There's
um,
been a couple times where the heat ran out. I remember I learned that pens stopped working in 10 degrees because we had to stop seeing patients because the building we were in was so cold. And we didn't have heat. So we ended up I have a video of it. I don't there's a song like Gucci Gucci by Krayshawn, and I'm like wrapped in a space blanket next to the oven with my colleague who I'm also wrapped to look like potato, and I'm like singing the song Gucci Gucci, which was like nothing like where I was. But yeah, staying warm has been an issue when they ran out of stove oil or when the powers went out, which these grid systems are pretty old, so power goes out sometimes. And
Yeah, yeah, and I,
yeah,
I I know those Yukon areas. I mean, they're dependent on boats getting up there and delivering
in the
their
summer
oil,
only,
and
yeah, barges. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
But the winter you got nothing. So the bush planes bring stuff too, but not nearly as much fuel as they would. Yeah. So sometimes fuel runs out, sometimes electricity fails. And you just have to deal with it. So I still have all my fingers and toes, so I must have done a good job, right?
yeah, yeah.
And a
Wow,
couple times I was this close, but
that's amazing. Well, I really appreciate it. I love hearing all the stories. I love watching it and following along on the internet because I love Alaska. I love the wintertime. I love cold weather and of course I love optical. So it's like we all watch you put all those things together and it's like your own survival show that we get to watch.
I care survival.
Yeah, I Care Survival Alaska edition. So
Alaska edition. Hashtag not dead. That's what I always put hashtag not dead.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you just keeping the fingers and that's a big feat. I have one that I've ran through the table saw, which is a little deformed now, but a lot of my friends, for different reasons, will ask me on a Zoom call to hold up my fingers to show that they're all there, but not because of the cold like you. So
They're
thank
all
you.
there. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it. I love hearing the stories. We all love watching from afar, and hopefully, it encourages some people to get involved and do some mission work out there as well. So, thanks again, Chrissy. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much. All right. Have a great day. Nice to meet you in
Thanks.
person again.
Yes.